How's it going, everyone? It is Friday, July 5th, 2024. Hope you had a nice 4th of July. I had a pretty chill one. I just didn't do anything related to stocks. Took a day to just decompress, relax, and we're getting right back into it today. So, current positions that we have on right now, just AMD. I didn't give a pick on the video yesterday. So AMD right now breaking through some levels. It kind of is being terrible. It's kind of being awful to us right now. So let's take a look at this price action. Zooming out a little bit over here. So when we got an AMD, we got it somewhere over here. And it was still looking pretty good. Stock has rallied quite a bit. Volume has been pretty decent. There's been some volume over here in the stock, so certainly not as bearish as I expected. And stock has been grinding up higher through the 200-day SMA, as well as some of these horizontal resistance levels. And now it's testing right over here, this high from May 28th. I got close, 177.04 today. This high was 174.04. This is 174.55. So it got pretty close to this high, didn't quite crack it. I'm not panicking on this right now because it's pretty early in the trade, and I'd rather have this early than late because I still have time for the trade to come back my way. What I'm really watching for here is if it confirms above the 200-day SMA. Because if it confirms, right, then I feel more confident in legging out. If it doesn't confirm, then I know that we're going to fall back in the range, and I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on AMD. They had a little bit of nice volume in here, and we broke through this downward sloping trend line right here. So I was leading on this as support. We broke this one level. We also broke this second level pretty much in one day. So not quite what I like here in the stock. So I'm watching this. I am less bearish than I was before, but I'm not going to panic out of the spread right now. We have to see if these moves hold. And look, AMD has been bearish for a reason. So we really have to see if buyers have truly changed their mind in the past couple of days. We're going to keep watching this guy. We're not going to make any moves until the end of the day. We're not going to make any judgments till the end of the day. Probably not going to make any moves until the end of the day unless we get some sort of really long green candle that closes on its high, getting through all of these levels. Then I would be very, very bullish on the stock. All right. Let's look at the market over here. Long-term fundamental, again, still mildly bullish. We got unemployment this week, pretty much in line on everything. Hourly earnings were in line at 0.3. Unemployment itself was in line, 4.1 versus 4.0 expected. Payrolls were pretty much in line. I think it was 206 versus like 186, something like that. So the theme of that story, and if we look at the M5 chart after hours, we'll see that there was just not really any big reaction. Here is the unemployment report. Pretty much a whole dud, right? So didn't really change the story whatsoever on the market. So that was pretty much the only chance we had to get for fireworks. We're going to have, this is kind of a holiday in the middle of the week, so it's just going to be some weird choppy trading. We had a half day on the 3rd. Obviously no trading yesterday. This is probably going to be a low volume day today. And the market has had this low volume, little drift higher. Let's talk about the outlook because the outlook is actually going to be what's most important in terms of the fundamental information. CPI is coming out next week. We have bank earnings also starting up next week. Mega cap tech earnings at the end of the month. We also have the FOMC statement on July 31st. So all of these are coming into play later, and that's the information we're looking out for and to kind of see what's going to change fundamentally on a longer term basis. But for right now, it seems like the general themes we still have economic strength. Inflation is stubborn, but it's coming down. Those two story points have remained the same. Some other important historical information here. Historically strong starts of the year continue 81% of the time. That is a pretty strong statistic, and I'll link this in the If you go to the JPM website, they have something called the No, and they have that's a really nice source for just really nice basic fundamental analysis. And I'll just whip it out over here. So to me, I've learned a lot from this. It's just a free kind of. It's basically like financial news, but they have a lot of really good information over here about how's 2024 shaping up. They'll talk about mid-year outlook, something like this. So there's one of these articles had that information, and I thought that was a pretty key point. They're basically saying if this is a strong trend, it's more likely to continue. This usually continues. So that's another story talking point here. We know that valuations are pretty rich. The forward PE ratio of SPY, if we put that up over here, should come up over here. All right, I guess it's not in this one, but essentially, Mag 7 mega cap techs are leading this charge up. And if we look at QQQ, that has really been responsible for this leg up pretty much since May, or pretty much all of June and May. Small caps have not been participating. Other sectors really not been participating as well. RSP, IWM are both down. TLT in terms of the bond yields has been a little bit all over the place. We got a big drop, and then we're kind of recovering back over. So I do see it in this longer term wedge. But all of this fundamental stuff is saying, look, stuff hasn't really changed. Just kind of know the major story points and then try to think what could cause them to change and what information you need. So earnings is the bottom line. That's what is going to be important, and how everything impacts those earnings. All right. So a lot of stuff on the longer term fundamental, but we haven't talked about that in a while, so I don't mind putting a little bit more time into that. On a longer term technical basis, I do still think that we have a mildly bullish bias. We're in this light volume drift higher. We're breaking out to new all-time highs, stalling, testing the bid, and then going up higher. So it does seem like we are taking this, 2 steps up, 3 steps back, 3 steps up, 2 steps back sort of pattern. It's very stair-steppy price action. And it's very tough because you think that, okay, we got one warning sign here, we got one warning sign here, but these are not super strong warning signs. And we are making new all-time highs here, but every time you make the new all-time high, you don't quite feel like chasing it. There's just not a lot of volume in these rallies. They're sort of more unexpected. They're low conviction. So this is just a lot of speculating buying, right? Versus institutions who are buying at a more favorable price over here. It seems like there's a lot of money, and I'm going to take that out over here at this A VWAP Q that got re-anchored on triple witching. A lot of action over here on that level, which lined up very closely to that prior breakout level right over here of around 544. Yeah, I mean, this is just an interesting time to trade, and I think a good time to be cautious. We're in this light volume bullish rally, getting in on those dips. I haven't quite seen the dip that I wanted to see in terms of getting in on longs. So I'm still waiting for that. Given that there's July, and July I think is a pretty bullish month historically, we could see some bullishness in July and then some weakness in August, maybe even September. So, and then when October might be a little bit interesting because we have elections in November. So there may be some weakness, perhaps some de-risking in those months. That's potentially when we could see a pullback. I don't know. That's just kind of my temporary bias at this moment. So shorter term time frame. Again, we have a holiday shortened week. Lots of light volume action over here. We have CPI coming out next week. Bank earnings are kicking off. So we are, to me, I guess, like this is mildly bearish. Mildly bullish. But again, every time we break out to the new all-time high, we're going to stall, right? So here's the breakout. We're going to stall, and then we're going to probably pause or maybe even retest that breakout level. So I am not really super bullish. Like it's bullish right now, but my prediction for the future is a little bit more mildly bearish because we've already made a pretty decent move. The volume has been light. I just don't really feel like we are going to see a lot of follow through. Zooming into the M5 over here, we have a small gap up, testing the bid a couple times this morning. This was the key bar, so we had a nice bearish red engulfing candle, and I thought this would sort of make or break the day. If we got another follow through on a nice red engulfing candle, then I think I would expect some sort of bearish engulfing day. We got some support over here. We got some steady buying up, and we pretty much got all the way back to the new all-time high and poked above it. So at this point, you knew that we had a nice chance to float higher. Market stalling over here. There's a 1OP bearish cycle. It's coming down a little bit. This is an interesting candle over here. A lot of high volume. Not sure what that's about. Wonder if there is a... Yeah, I'll have to check what that is. But in any case, market's flatlining a little bit today. It may come in a little bit, but I would be pretty selective with your trades. Not push too much. I don't want to overload on any swings right now. I'm fine with the AMD call credit spread. I don't need anything else. So I'm going to try to find a nice day trade for today. Let's see if I can find a nice day trade long and a nice day trade short. All right, I am back. I have two picks here. The first one is Walmart as a long. So I redrew the channel here. It's been a nice grinder since earnings. Came back, tested the bottom of our channel here, breaking through the prior high. There's not a huge bit of volume in Walmart, but you can see now how it's picking up some volume over here. So I'm going to set an alert for a pullback over here. So either an LRSI alert or I will put an HA reversal alert. Either one of those. And I will set an alert probably at the high of the day as well. So capture any sort of movements. And if it pulls back, retests this breakout level, and then launches up higher, I think that would be a nice day trading short, potentially even a nice swing trading short as it's breaking out above that 8 EMA. So that's our pick on the long side. On the short side, I am liking AAP. You'll see that stock has been chopping down, and it actually has been grinding lower on heavy volume. Volume is a little bit spiky, but still pretty nice overall. Breaking through some very major levels today. Yeah, and if I zoom out again on AAP, I'm going to double check that there is maybe no sort of support or, well, really just support. I don't have to worry about the resistance as much. So we're at some of these levels here. Looks like there may be some support at here. This pretty high volume candle coming into play. Potentially even over here. Little bit of volume, so that could be a pretty decent level. And then we got a lot of touches over here. So it seems like this, obviously a huge level. There probably might be some reaction here as well. And even somewhere over here. So these are kind of our general levels. And then you can see that there's a lot of touches right around here. So there may still be some buyers and sellers at this range. So I'm just going to kind of draw one here. All right, now we kind of have marked up some of the ways that this can fall through. Yeah, I mean, AAP does look like it has a nice amount of room before it gets to anything potentially interesting. So yeah, that is my my short pick of the day. We'll see how they play out. I think looks like SPY is having a bearish, a bullish divergence right now. It's hugging the high of the day during this bear cycle, so it's a sign of very strong trend strength. I think that if we break through the high of the day. Could be a nice opportunity again for some longs. Walmart is looking good. Just wait for that retest. So let me add this to our picks. And same thing with AAP. All right. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, everyone. And we will take a look at how AMD and some of our picks did on Monday.